it up. It's the Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Howell.
You don't have to be on Facebook. Everybody knows you're an evil woman from your head down to your toes. We're getting serious, told you from the start. Everybody knows, everybody knows. Not taking prisoners, I'm only taking hearts. Just to confuse me, your posts abuse me. The consequence of your intent does not amuse me. Excuse me if I may. It's time to go away. You got nothing nice to say. You're an evil woman. Says he loves me, says he's my man. Posted my picture all over Instagram. It's your evil pleasure messing with my life. It's your evil pleasure. It's your evil pleasure. He got twisted 'cause he wants me for his wife. Jealousy, honey, please. You sure got a lot of nerve talking shit on me. Excuse me if I may. It's time to go away. You got nothing nice to say. You're an evil woman. Evil woman. Hey, hey. Evil woman. Hey, hey. Evil woman. Hey, hey. You're an evil woman.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome drummer, singer-songwriter Tedi Brunetti to the
How
program.
are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Teddy?
I'm great. I'm great.
Where you calling from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice. Is that where you grew up?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. Steelers fan?
Of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You're from New Jersey?
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey. I lived there for most of my life, 47 years, and
Wow.
I moved to North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 3 years ago.
Oh, so that's where you are now?
Yes, I just kept my same cell phone number, because everybody has
Oh,
it.
I see. Right.
So wow, you're from Pittsburgh, huh? You lived there your whole life?
No, I lived in the 70s and 80s. I was in New York City doing music. I had a band.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, see, I could be your mom.
What year did you move to Pittsburgh from New York City?
Oh, boy. I moved back here about, see, I've been around a while. I'm 69 years old. So I moved back after our second son was born, and that was like 30 years ago. So I've lived most of my life here, but spent almost 20 years in New York,
How old were you when you decided you were going to play drums and play music?
Oh, I was, I knew I was going to be a musician when I was like 11.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you when you were in your first band?
Oh, probably actually, I mean, if you want to call it a band, I mean, at 11, my first instrument was guitar. They wouldn't let me take drum lessons because they thought it was a boy's instrument. So I asked if I could take guitar, and they said, yeah, and I did well with it, and they bought me a guitar, and I started writing songs immediately, and one of my best girlfriends talked her parents into getting a guitar, and I would teach her my songs, and the two of us, like in 7th grade, were like 7th and 8th grade, were like the first like rock performers in our grade school. And then when I went to high school, I started playing drums at that point, and hooked up with some of the boys from the high school marching band. You know, they all played. Some of them. There was one fellow. Actually, we were all drummers. Now that I think back on it, it's kind of funny. But one of them played guitar, and one of the tuba players decided to get a bass guitar because he could read the bass music, right? From playing tuba. And and somebody played keyboards, and we put like a horn band together, like, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, that kind of music. So I did that. But I mean, there were a lot of people in and around the neighborhood. I guess when I was 12, 13, 14, whenever there was somebody playing, I'd run there, and I jammed with just local kids who were, mostly they were a little bit older than me. I would play with them, and they would ask me, can you play drums? I'd say, yeah, and I sat down and I just played them. And can you play bass? And I knew how to play guitar. So, and actually I studied bass too in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the first road band, the first professional band I was in, I was the bass player in the band. So,
nice.
Yeah. So, but really I'm a drummer, and a singer and a songwriter.
Did you play a lot of good venues in New York when you were performing?
Oh yeah. I played, all the big clubs like CBGB's and Max's Kansas City. And the Cat Club back in the day, and
nice.
I did a lot of when you especially back then, there was a real starving artist community there, so I played all kinds of music, and I played in all different kinds of acts. So yeah, some of them were more successful than others, but, and then I had my own band. So yeah.
Ever run into Debbie Harry or the Ramones during those days?
Oh yeah. The Ramones, we lived my husband's my lead guitar player. And, so, we lived in a building called the Music Building, 251 West 30th Street, and that was top to bottom musicians, and we had a loft there. It was a starving artist loft. The band was set up. You could play music 24/7. So the Ramones were there. John Lennon's Elephant's Memory was on the front of the floor that we were on, and Bob Marley's keyboard player lived next door to us, Tyrone Downey.
Wow.
And, and people, Harry Belafonte had a place in that building. I mean, there was
That's pretty cool.
There was all kinds of people in and out of it. It was pretty iconic building back in the day. And we were one of the first tenants when they turned it into what they called the Music Building. And there were rehearsal studios in there. Might have been a recording studio or two in there, too. I'm not sure, But lots of musicians in and out of the place. Deborah Harry from Blondie produced one of the bands I was in.
Nice.
A band called the B Girls, and she mentored them. They're from Toronto, and I'm actually their second drummer. And I got to record. I didn't get to record with Deborah Harry. That was before I was in the band. But Mick Jones from The Clash also produced an EP for the B Girls, and I wrote for that band too. So I got to go in the studio with Mick Jones, and he produced one of the songs I did for that band.
What was that like?
Oh, that was a trip. It was pretty crazy. That was when the Clash were at their height, their peak. They were playing. I think it was like around 1976 or 77, 78, 70. I don't know. Late 70s. I'd have to look it up. If I Googled it up, I could find it. But it's they played like 2 weeks straight at a club called Bonds, which was a huge department store, like in Times Square, that they had gutted. It was as big as a football field inside, at least 1 or 2 football fields.
Wow.
It was a huge place. I mean, the Plasmatics blew a car up in there.
That's Wendy O. Williams band, right?
Right. And I was I was part of the scene back then. So, I mean, I knew the sound guys and the light guys, and they gave me, the one guy called me up. He's like, Teddy, you got to come up tonight. The Plasmatics are going to blow a car up.
That's pretty cool.
And so that was like, I lived on 30th Street, like I said. So it was, I walked there, walked up to Times Square, and I'd get to see everybody. But the Clash played there. They were lined up for blocks. You couldn't get in, and that was the time that we recorded with them. And the B-Girls toured with the Clash also. They were their opening act. We were on the buses with them, stuff like that. So that was a pretty heady time. All my friends thought, well, this is it. The B-Girls were one of these iconic bands back in the day there, where we had a huge following, and we actually made a little money as an original act, which is hard to do. And without having a hit record, but and we just never, at one point it was between us and the Go-Go's who was going to get this record deal.
Wow.
And we screwed that up. And but we never got offered the right deal. These girls I was the newest member of the band, so I wasn't really doing the business. Cynthia Ross, who was the bass player, was the leader of the band in terms of business stuff. And it was all women, it was all girls, and we had Blondie's attorney, so we were well represented, and we just never got offered a deal that was acceptable.
Wow.
So somebody's supposed to be trying to do a documentary about that band. So
that would be pretty cool, right?
It would be cool. And I know last year, about a year ago actually, somebody released a CD with pop girls bands from the 70s and 80s. From the 80s. I guess it was the 80s, yeah. And one of the B-Girl songs are on there. They had Joan Jett, they had the Go-Go's, all those kind of bands. And the B-Girls were one of the unknown bands they put on there. And one of the songs that I played drums on was on that CD. So that was kind of fun to have that happen. So, and Cynthia, the bass player, she's still playing. She's in a band called New York Junk.
Oh,
and she's a punker. She plays a lot of punk. And the B-Girls was like semi-pop, semi-punk. My stuff's a little more mainstream,
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool that you brought up Wendy. He was a pioneer, right? Back in the day. Oh my God. All the stuff that she did. It's a shame.
So wild. I remember the first time I saw her at CBGB's, and their show was amazing, So all the lights are out, and they open their show. It's like, boom, a big flash pot goes off, and the bass player's like hanging, like with a noose, okay? Yeah, and she comes out, and she's in this lace bodysuit. I mean, naked, really.
She used to wear chaps and studded bras and stuff. I mean, she was really out there.
She was gorgeous. She was built like a brick shithouse. She killed herself.
Yes, yeah, she committed suicide. Yup.
Oh my God! And all the junkies, I mean, Johnny. Do you know who Johnny Thunders is?
I've heard of him.
Okay, he played with the New York Dolls.
Right.
You know that band?
Yep.
Okay. David Johansen was in that band. The B-Girls, we gigged a lot with him too. And they were good friends with Johnny. Johnny lived underneath us. Okay. The way we met Johnny, all right, so we move into this building, the music building. It had been Furrier Studios previously. So like the closet in the room that we made our bedroom was like a walk-in safe for where they used to keep the furs, right? So we had to put all the fixtures in and stuff. It was raw space, okay? It was rentals, but it was raw space. And you had to, if you wanted to live there, you had to put your own kitchen in, and your own bathtub,
Okay.
But so because it was office space, it was these furrier places, and the fur industry, went by the wayside,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we were fixing our place up. We were newlyweds actually, so we're sleeping on a mattress on the floor, and we hear one note, ding, ding, his guitar note, ding. This is how stoned poor Johnny was, right? So okay, midnight. All right, this one note, and it was loud because we could hear it. The floors were concrete. Okay, we were on the 8th floor. We were 8 rear east. He was 7 rear east in this building.
Mm-hmm.
So by 3 o'clock in the morning, we were like, okay, this has to stop, So we go downstairs, and here there was a electrical wire coming out of his mail chute in his door,
mm-hmm.
and it was wired into the exit sign above his door. He didn't have any electricity. He was squatting, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He ended up living there legally, but at the time we moved in, there were a few people living in that building who, I don't know how they got keys to their places or whatever, but, they weren't paying rent. Let's put it that way. So, that's how we met Johnny. Knocked on his door, asked him to stop that shit,
Well, you must have seen some pretty funky shit and attended some pretty wild parties. I mean, you describe yourself as a sober Janis Joplin meets Steely Dan in Memphis. Can you elaborate on that?
I got sober in the B-Girls band.
Okay.
Actually, my sobriety date's coming up. October 14th, 1981 is when I had my last drink or drug, hopefully.
Wow.
For everybody. For me and everybody around me. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just doing, it is, having long-term sobriety is something, okay? But, and it's something for me, it's just what I need to do. Some people can't handle it, and I'm one of them.
Okay.
So that's just who I am today, And being sober, it'll be 40 years in a few weeks here, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
In another month, it'll be 40 years. So you get clarity, and people don't know really what that means unless they've experienced it. But the bullshit detector is like on hyper super sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to become a very tolerant person. Especially when you're in the music business.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you must.
I don't know too many people that don't at least smoke pot.
Right. When I was growing up in school, that was like the drug everybody started out with, and then today it's
what's that, pot?
Yeah, and people are still doing it today. I mean, it's real popular in the state I live in.
And it's like, let me tell you, and the pot that they're doing today is psychedelic compared to the pot in the 70s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe that.
I mean, I had some of that good shit before I got sober. So I know what it's like to be on some really heavy marijuana, because I had a girlfriend who was a guitar player who was one of the local pot dealers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she used to turn me on to that stuff. But I didn't like it so much. I've had a couple panic attacks in my life, and both of them were marijuana induced, Yeah,
I've heard people say that.
Oh man, that's like, that's horrible, But not everybody everybody acts like smoking pot's. They think it's today. The attitude of these people is smoking pot's just like not smoking pot,
Right.
It's like, and I say, well, they ask me what being sober is like. I said, well, you get clarity, and they, of course, when you're doing drugs and you're drinking or whatever, I mean, alcohol's a drug too. I mean, seriously, if they just discovered alcohol today, you'd need a 3-part prescription to get it,
Right.
I mean, look what it does to you. You can't walk. You can't talk.
Yeah. Can't think straight sometimes either.
Oh, well, no, it definitely affects you that way, too, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, yeah, and me, I was a falling down drunk. I mean, I just, I was just bad, I was just bad news.
Like Courtney Love drunk?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then, and here I am with, like, hanging out with all these heroin addicts. And all my friends are telling me, well, at least you're not shooting up,
Right.
And here, yeah, and then here are these girls in these bands and stuff, and they're doing opium suppositories, and they're asking me, Teddy, please don't drink,
That's funny.
Please don't drink before the gigs, right? So, yeah, it was a problem,
So would you have imagined that you would have gone 40 years sober, right? And then put out brand new album, which is great, by the way. I've heard it twice so far since Michael gave it to me. The Queen of Pittsburgh. Can you talk about that album a little bit?
Sure. Well, the whole idea and that title song, The Queen of Pittsburgh, was the brainstorm of one of my producers, Dean Sargent, and his production music partner, Michael Hennigan, who's also, and they're my band now too. So Dean's my second guitar player, and Mike was a bass player on everything. So they're like a production team, And Mike's also engineered a lot of the tracks on that album. And Dean produced my first solo album in New York City 30-some years ago. So we hooked up through me finding his wife on Facebook like 3 or 4 years ago. And I didn't know if he was still alive. But my first album is great, and we're going to put it out. We're going to release that probably next year. Early next year, maybe January.
Cool.
If I can get it together, it might come out a little bit earlier, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, we loved working together. We both did some of our best work together. And so I said, I'm thinking of recording again. And he said, let's do it. And I was just so thrilled because Dean was a first call recording engineer back in the day in New York City. And he's worked on a lot of people's albums. So he knows his way around a studio. And he knows more than that. He's a fantastic arranger and songwriter. Mm-hmm. And singer, and both Dean and Mike they both sing and write, So they came to Pittsburgh, and we started doing some pre-production work. I showed them some songs that I had written, and we decided, what we were going to do. And I live like a rock star now. We have a loft in downtown Pittsburgh that has a nice city view, and we took them around the city and showed them, the sights, because we love Pittsburgh, my husband and I. Mm-hmm. And so on their drive back, they live in the Poconos, by the way, so they're like 6 hours away from me. Mm-hmm. And on their ride back, I get this call from Dino, and he's like, hey, I have an idea for a song. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but, see if here I have a verse and I have some music, and, see what you think. If you want to do, whenever he tells me I have something, see, if you want to use it, fine. If you want to write something, if you want to finish writing it, fine. I end up writing a song. All right. So he says it's called The Queen of Pittsburgh. And I thought, oh, my God. I went, oh. It's pretty bold, mm-hmm. and I'm thinking, oh, here comes the hate, from the locals. You know what I'm saying? She thinks she's the queen now. But the song, if you've heard the song, then it's like, I'm not saying I'm the Queen of Pittsburgh. I'm saying, first off, it's the Queen of Pittsburgh. It's not the Queen of England, so it's kind of funny to begin with. And so it's really tongue-in-cheek. But the whole song is about, I'm not going to stop kicking ass until they make me the Queen of Pittsburgh. Right. So that's what the song's about. So, but people, it's funny because, Spotify artists, right? You get all your stats, and you see how many songs are getting, how many plays you're getting on each of your songs on your albums and stuff. And besides the first song that we released with the video, Evil Woman, Queen of Pittsburgh's the song that people are going to first, and it's great. And as a matter of fact, on that song, I got to fulfill one of my wishes, longtime wishes, which was our son, James, got to play on this album with us. So the solo section, the guitar solos, it's a father and son guitar solo. Oh, nice. Section. Yeah, my husband's like the Jim Mason. He's the iconic guitar line guy, right? Mm-hmm. He comes up with these iconic legato, beautiful guitar solos, and then my son just takes it out, the rest of the solo, into another dimension, my son James plays drums, bass, and guitar, and he plays the hell out of all three of them. He has a band called Sweet Earth. They're a jam band. Oh, nice. Yeah. His band went to LA for a few years. Then they were in Denver, and then got pregnant. So we have a 5-year-old grandson. So he moved back to Pittsburgh,
Oh, okay.
So the band came back too. They're all Pittsburgh guys, so they came back in his band. But and I got to have a couple of my sisters. I'm the oldest of 10 kids.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. On my first album, one of my brothers, Joseph, he was one of my background singers. When I had my band in New York, I had 4 background singers. And on this album, 2 of my sisters, Mary Park and Anita Phillips, they sang background vocals along with my friend Nicole Bella. Mm-hmm. But I have great people on this album, mm-hmm. and it's just been a labor of love, and we made the whole idea about making the album was, we made it for our grandkids. So, they would know Grandma and Grandpa were cool once,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then as we were doing it, as we were recording it, it just turned out too good not to try to. So now I'm back in the music business again. I'm not retired anymore,
That's awesome. Well, this podcast.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I get to meet people like you, talk to you. I mean, how would this happen? I'm having way more fun this time around because the rest of my life doesn't depend on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I have the experience, and the people I'm working with are just so, we probably have 200 or 300 years of experience between all of us. So everything we're doing is just turning out so quality in the way I want it to. My sound is like this blues influenced, old school kind of classic rock kind of thing that we've updated.
Right.
And so if people like their classic rock, they can listen to me and get some fresh stuff because the people that we're listening to, look at the Rolling Stones just recently, right? Charlie Watts passed away. I mean, right. Either they're too old
mm-hmm.
and they're not doing it anymore, or they're dying. They're dying off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
true.
my dad's 93. My mom, and they were actors, my parents, and my mom passed away a few years ago, and she was 90. Mm-hmm. And so I have those longevity genes. So I feel like I'm middle aged right now at 69. Because by the time I'm 120, they'll be able to grow me a new whatever I need mm-hmm. in a petri dish somewhere, probably.
Still got a lot left in the tank, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I do. Yeah, I'm already planning another album, for next year. I've gotten to the point right now where I'm not so concerned about today has been taken care of. I live my life a day at a time. And it's funny how this is working out in terms of my music career. When I put the work in every day to promote and develop my music, I still practice, because I love hitting that drum pad and hitting the drum set, I mm-hmm. still play a lot. We're not gigging right now because, COVID, it was too hard to make plans, and my band's all over the place. I got people in the Poconos and the keyboard players in New York City. Mm-hmm. And so, until something happens with this album, I'm going to be releasing some more videos. I have one that's I'm supposed to, actually today, they're supposed to show me one of the more final cuts of it. So it's already been shot. They're editing it by guys from New Jersey that I told you about.
Right.
BMHAC. And they're like 24 years old. So I benefit from their skill and their youth and their...
they know how to use the technology.
Yeah, they're technical guys. And I have a tech guy now. I have a whole team. I'm really blessed. I have Rebel Technology does my website and helps me with all my social media, mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff. So, and this guy's like a computer genius, William McDuffie. He has a 3D printer. Okay.
Wow.
He does everything software and hardware. So what a blessing to have these young, talented people to work with. And then I have the old school guys like Dino and Mike and my husband,
nice.
Supporting me. And I just feel like I'm surrounded in love right now,
That's important.
I never thought my life would turn out this way. When I came back to Pittsburgh, I gave up music for almost 20 years. It was believe me, I cried for 3 years. And I went back to school for ultrasound, and I did cardiac and vascular ultrasound, echocardiograms, venous Dopplers for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. And almost ruined my arms doing it. All right, it takes its toll on you physically, that career.
Wow.
And my husband's just, he's the rock. He enabled me. He became an auditor. We ended up being the people we used to make fun of for about 20 years, and now we're playing again. And I was able to retire 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I started playing again. So I have lived my life in stages,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be my message to people: is do what the most important thing is today, and for us that was raising our kids and providing them with the opportunities to go on vacations, to take them to Italy,
Right.
things like that, to have them have a nice childhood, and now they're both really good parents. I got to say, I'm very proud of my sons that way.
This podcast is going to feature two of your tracks, one being Evil Woman. What's the story behind that?
Oh, well, when I started playing music again, we put together this is like about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. We put together a cover band, a blues band, and I haven't sang for over 20 years, all right? So I didn't even know if I could sing again. And so we had a front singer, and we were doing blues covers, and that's why we ended up in the blues genre. We liked the music, and I started writing. That band was in a local competition where they wanted you to have original material, and I was the only real songwriter in the group, so I wrote a couple things for the competition, and that's how I started writing again. And so then I decided, the cover thing was not really fulfilling, Once you've done your own material, I mean, I know, when I started playing music, it wasn't my hopes and dreams to be able to play everybody else's stuff. I wanted to play my own. Like I said, I started writing songs just about as soon as I could play, and every time I'd learn a new guitar chord, I'd write a new song,
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that. So I've been writing music a long time, and I studied songwriting in those years in New York City at ASCAP and at the Songwriters Guild. So it's part of who I am too, and I really enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
songwriting. So so the singer, the point is, the singer had a girlfriend, and he was dating off and on all over the place, young, single guy out there, and he had this one girlfriend who wanted to get serious, but he didn't really want to get serious with her. And she started a war with him on Facebook.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And she was going to come to the gigs and this, that, and the other thing. It was just this crazy. It was crazy, and so that's where the Evil Woman came in. I write from titles. Okay. Because that's how I learned how to write songs, like the Tin Pan Alley people, that's my songwriting technique. So I write from titles, and so that was the song Evil Woman. And then I get my hair done at this very hip, it's called Swank, and it's so it's swanky. It's these hip young 20, 30 something hairstylists who they're all hotties, all these girls, and I listen to their stories. Well, I get my hair done there, right? And whose boyfriend's cheating on them? Who are they cheating on?
Right.
Whose boyfriend's in jail?
Right.
All this. Because today there's no rules, right? So they just, and I always get a kick out of hearing what these young kids are doing. And so that's what that song's really about. It's my take on the 20s, 30 something generation, and I think it came off pretty well.
Yeah, so you're basically a fly on the wall, and that's how you got the inspiration for the song, correct?
Yeah. You should go on YouTube and look at the video. I use some of those gorgeous hairstylists. Kelly Zielinski is the lead character. She's got movie star good look.
Really?
And she's. Oh my God, she's gorgeous. She'll blow your mind.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Oh yeah, I mean she's beautiful inside and out, and she's a stylist too. She's my makeup artist actually, and I teach. And the way I found her when we were casting this video was I teach her mother drum lessons.
Oh wow!
And so I was saying, oh, I'm going to do this video. I got to find a makeup artist. She's like, oh, my daughter, you got to try my daughter. And I'm thinking, oh, your daughter. Okay. How old's your daughter? She said like 21 or something. I thought, okay, well, she probably does hair and makeup really good on 21-year-olds, but how's she going to be with this old lady, right? Mm-hmm. And so, because I've had a lot of makeup artists back in the New York City days, because I did a lot of cable TV back then, and always had to have hair and makeup done. So I did a trial run with her, and just loved her to death, and she was excellent. She really knew what she was doing, and I loved the way she did my makeup. I loved the way she did my hair, and and then she was gorgeous. And so I asked her to be in the video, And you said that video's on your YouTube page? Yes, I have a YouTube channel, Tedi Brunetti Official. It's called, we have over 18,000 views on it. And that's hard to do when you only have one piece of material out there, you know? Yeah, so that's something I'm working on, and that's going to be developed within the next 6 months. Rebel Technology's helping me with that. We have interviews and, of course, more music videos from the album. The next music video is the first song on the album, which is Eat, Sleep, Repeat. And I like that one. Yeah. The video's awesome too, and that video features me more. And I like the way we're producing things. These guys are wonderful to collaborate with. They get me, and they know they make my visions come to life on that screen. We won a Swedish Film Festival award for Evil Woman. Oh, awesome! And they had a music video category, and we won. I think they do it monthly, and we won for the month of June, and now we're entered into the yearly whatever. But we've gotten a lot of recognition with the video. It's very well done. Everything's state of the art. I got to say, my stuff holds water with anybody. It can be in a rotation with anyone. So that's very cool. But, because they're filmmakers, and my songs tell stories. So kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, right. It's more fun for them and more fun for me. To make these songs come to life in that respect, and that's what I'm concentrating on right now instead of going out and gigging. Pittsburgh isn't a big enough city to support an original band. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to do like mini tours. And I'm hoping, I'm getting an audience in Europe, actually. So I'm hoping that maybe that'll work out to something where I can tour Europe in the next year or so. That would be pretty cool. Have you ever been there before? I've been there. I haven't played there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, that's something to look forward to, huh? Yeah. Do you have a website you'd like to promote? Oh, yeah. TediBrunetti.com. Now everything's up there? Your socials and everything like that? Everything's there. TediBrunetti. Yeah. There's links to, and you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn. I love my social media friends, so comment or DM me or whatever, and we'll talk. Even on the website, there's you can contact me through the website too, and you can pick up a copy of the CD on the website. There's, I have some T-shirts, coffee mugs, that kind of stuff, merch on there too, if you're interested in it. Nice. And pretty soon I'm going to have teddy bears on there. I have these really, really, really cute little teddy bears with T-shirts on with my logo on it. Yeah, they're cute. Awesome. That's pretty cool. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today? Well, the new video, Eat, Sleep, Repeat, will be out in the next couple of weeks. So give that a listen and like and subscribe. Follow me on Spotify. I'm on all the streaming platforms. Wherever you get music, or you can download it on, I guess, iTunes or Apple Music or Amazon. I'm everywhere that you get music, iHeartRadio, I'm on that. So wherever you listen to music, I'm there pretty much. And if you follow and like, it's very helpful. And when you buy merch or anything for any independent artist, you're just helping us to be able to create more content, to freshen up your playlists and give you some nice videos to watch, Exactly. So, it's not it's very helpful, and I know everybody who's an artist, and especially me, I appreciate it, So, likes and follows and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that all helps. It all helps.
Sure
does. More than people realize,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Teddy, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I really dig the album. I enjoyed talking with you. You got some great stories, and anytime you want to come back on, maybe when that album comes out next year, I can have you back on. We could talk a little bit more about the old days and what you got coming up ahead.
Okay, that'd be great. I'd love that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
This was great today, Jimmy. You're all right, Jimmy.
Well, I appreciate that. You are too. Like I said, I dig your style. I think you're a cool lady, and I look forward to hearing more great music from you in the future.
Okay, well, enjoy your beach life, and I'm going to enjoy the next month at the beach too. So I wish you the best, and I'll promote this as much as I can.
Let's stay in touch, all right? And we'll talk
Okay,
soon,
great.
all right?
All right, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate you having me on your show. I really do appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Anytime you want to come back, we'll set that up, all right?
All right, thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
From this weather-tight 6th floor window, I hear voices from people below. Can't quite make out what they're saying. Not sure that I want to know. Hit the pavement, sunglasses and ball cap, stepping over and on sidewalk cracks. Cafe Ray, t-shirt call, the usual mob, sweeping enterprise, keeping on track. It's the pulse of the city, the family of man, healing, revealing its gritty demands. Humankind intertwined, a big melting pot, in a grind all together, like it hung high. Eat, sleep, repeat. Eat, sleep, repeat. Eat, sleep, repeat. Repeat. Eat, sleep, repeat. Sunglasses and ball cap, stepping over and on sidewalk cracks. Cafe Ray, t-shirt power, the usual mob, sweeping enterprise, keeping on track. Evening sparkles of neon and street light, people gather for drinks and a bite. A reward, a reprieve, what we all seem to need. Survival, achievement, respite. It's the pulse of the city, the family of man,